for, you shall receive. Trust and believe, you shall receive. Everything you pray for, you shall receive. God is not done with me. No, God is not done with me. He's just getting started, and I'm right here for it. Hey, y'all. God is not done with me. No, God is not done with me. He's just getting started, and I'm right here for it. It's what you gotta do. Be patient, patient, patient. Be what? Be patient, patient, patient. All right, y'all, come on in. Patient, patient. I got the comments up. Let me know who's watching and where you watching from. He's just getting started, and I'm right here for it. I know you've been waiting for a miracle. Right. I know you've been fighting some obstacles. I know. Even when you don't want to sleep. All right. For those of you who've never heard that song before, that is God Is Not Done by Lamb. He's married to this beautiful person named Lynn. They're called Lynn and Lamb. I follow them on YouTube. They're an amazing couple, and he is a Nigerian gospel artist. Hey, Mika. Hey, Diane. All right, let's get into it. I'm super excited. Today was a good day. This weekend was a great weekend. We had a great She Shed Saturday. I was able to pour into some members of my community, those that are committed. And then I did a wonderful keynote. And then today was day one of our first healing sprint. So for those of you who don't know what a healing sprint is, inside of my community, I've combined my love for positive habit forming. Hey, Weena. Hey, Fayla. Hey, y'all. I've combined my love for, short stints of really good progress with what I know to work to build naturally good habits. So we've started 21 minutes for 21 days. I give a guide. There's a digital guide that you follow. You do the 21 minutes at your own pace. You can do it in the morning, in the evening, whenever you want to do it. The form is automatically emailed to you. So at the end of 21 days, you can combine all those emails and you can see all of the limiting beliefs that you yourself have worked on reprogramming. It is an amazing one. I am super, super excited. All right, Cherie is on here from Austin. Cherie Austin from H-Town. So let's get into tonight's topic. Again, the name of that song was God Is Not Done With Me by Lambo. So tonight we're going to talk about authenticity. Specifically, what do you do when who you naturally are no longer aligns with the life you've created? Oh, yeah. We're going to get into it because as we move, remember last week I talked about transition. There's a season. The number 6 is the number of transition. The number 7 is the number of completion. The number 8 is a new beginning. And the number 10 is new cycles. After we move out of 5 in grace. So we're in transition. We're in transition in our culture. We're in transition in our government. Because if you think that when the trumpet gets in the presidency, that it's going to benefit people, you're sadly mistaken. I think it'll be worse than Jim Crow. Because here's why it'll be worse than Jim Crow. When Jim Crow came about, Black people had never had freedom. We'd never had equality or equanimity in any percentage. So to now have given a complete race of people autonomy, freedom. We have civil rights. We have specific amendments in the Constitution that are specifically for us. They've already started. Affirmative action is gone. DEI is about to take a nosedive. It's everything that we work for is going to change. So how do you take a people who have experienced a freedom for as many years as we have after coming out of bondage, how then do you strip those freedoms from those people? That's why I say this next phase is going to be worse than Jim Crow, because we've never had freedom to have our own religion, freedom to be ourselves. And it's not just African American. I just talk very proudly because I am African American. I don't know the Hispanic struggle. I don't know the Indian American struggle. I don't know any other struggle. I only know the Black person struggle. And so y'all, we're moving governmentally, we're transitioning. The church has transitioned. Do you know how many buildings, how many empty buildings I pass by on a Sunday going to my services? They are closing their doors at a rampant rate. So the way we do church, the way we do ministry, the way we do community, everything is going to change. And here's my question to you. With all of this change that's going on, how do you, first of all, know who you are, which is what my community does. I teach you. We uproot the limiting beliefs, and we give you a truth-based belief system that you can create your life with. But with all of this transition and change going on all around us, hey, Tanisha, first time. Hey, that's my friend, Tanisha. So good to have you, Tanisha. I'm going to invite you to come to the community. Hang on. How do you stand in your authenticity? Type that in the chat. How do you stand in your authenticity? What you going to do when things change that affect your job? When things change that affect your health care? When things change that affect the access that you have to things, what are you going to do? And how are you going to be yourself and still live healthy and be happy and be whole? So now we're going to look at, I know y'all know I love David. That's my favorite character in the Bible. But another one of my favorite characters is Peter. If anybody knows anything about me, if you had to line up all the disciples and say which disciple is Wilson like, it's going to be Peter. The cutting folk ear off, run when it's like back up against the wall. Wait a minute, let me think about it, Jesus. Wishy-washy, all of that. I've lived all of that. And so that's right, Charlotte. How do you stand in your authenticity? And so we're going to talk about Peter because Peter ended up being the first bishop in Rome. He ended up being, do you know that scripture that says when Christ said that's good, Mika, believe in yourself and be me. Belief is exactly where it starts. Peter was the first one. I'm sorry. Peter was his number one disciple. And the scripture where Christ says, upon this rock, I build my church. In Aramaic, Peter is Petra, Petra. Petra means rock. It's the literal translation of rock. So Christ was saying, I'm leaving my church. I'm leaving the community of believers that I've built in the hands of Peter. And Peter, come on somebody, y'all think Paul established the church. No, Peter took over the community after Christ. And he didn't give it to him until after he came back. So let's walk through some of Peter's flaws, and then we're going to walk through how God, I intertwine Jesus and God. You do what you want with your preference, but I believe that Jesus was the incarnated presence of God. That's my personal belief. And so I'll try to be a little more specific. So Jesus, here's how Peter starts. First of all, Christ did not seek out Peter. Andrew brought Peter to Christ. When Christ was looking for his disciples and he figured out, okay, I got to teach this message and I need some people, I need some consciousnesses that I can change and that I can lead this message with. Christ was he was a wonderful leader. And he knew that he needed to scale his message. He knew that he couldn't be in one place at one time. But if I get a subset of people and they become my disciples and they get my teachings and I teach them how to heal and I teach them how to do all these things, then I can be 12 places. I can be in 12 different countries at one time in my human form. Christ understood the limitations of the Bible, but the unlimitedness of consciousness. God is a spirit, and those who worship him must worship him in spirit and truth. So if God is a spirit, the essence of God was in the Christ, then the message of God and the message and the consciousness of Christ is in our minds. That is the ever-present nature of God. Don't have time to teach that. So Andrew introduces Peter to Christ, and immediately they go on. Now, when they're on the fishing boat, because Andrew, John, James, and Peter were fishermen. And so those were the closest ones to Christ. And so here we have the first mistake. And what does he do? He says, bid me to walk on water. If you to God, bid me to walk on water. Christ say, hey, pimp, whatever you need. So he starts walking on water. And the minute he gets distracted by the waves and he starts to sink. What is that? He has little faith. Peter, in that moment, we get to see that Peter is a practical person. His faith is very, very small. He has to have something tangible to place his faith in. That's one of his flaws. But Christ still chose him. I identify with Peter as well, Miss Sherlong. So here we go. Let's keep going. Peter was the one that spoke up when he said, cast your net. And because Peter and Andrew were the fishermen. Hear me now. Peter and Andrew were in business. They were business partners. That's why he brought Christ. So these people have been fishermen their whole life. And here come Christ hollering about going back out there to the deep. And Peter like, man, let me say something. We done been out here all night. Nevertheless, because you said it, not because I believe what you say, but because you said it and you're our leader, I'll do it. Not because I believe in the outcome. I need you to really hear this. Peter didn't believe in the outcome that Christ was leading them to. He just did it because he followed the leader. So he lets the net down, all this kind of stuff. Then let's fast forward to Christ starts to tell them, hey, they're going to take me. I'm going to have to give up my life. All of these things are going to happen. Peter says, no, I don't want to hear you dying. Now, how many people would say that? If one of your teachers, let's say your pastor, let's put, y'all love y'all pastors. Let's say your pastor came to you and said, listen, they're going to kill me. Oh, yeah, they're going to kill me. And I'm going to get out of here. And so I need to prep y'all because I'm finna get out of here. Now, if your pastor came to you and said that to you in 2024, what would you say? As much as we love to quote the Bible, if it happened in real life, you would be scared and shaken. And you would say, what? No, you're not going to die. You're not going to die. Many people had that same reaction when Bishop had that heart attack on stage. But if it was his time and you truly believe the Bible, then you would have been okay. So Peter says, no, you're not going to die. And what does Christ say to Peter? Christ says to Peter, get thee behind me, Satan. Christ didn't call Peter Satan. Because see, Satan done jumped off up in you because you're not even speaking right. I'm telling you what I'm called to do, and you're speaking against my calling. Christ still loved Peter. So Peter talked back. He always got something to say. He was complaining about going back out to the thing to drop the fish. You know what I'm saying? So he didn't stop looking. We already see he don't have no faith. Then we get to the Garden of Gethsemane. Right before they come capture him, what does Peter do? Cut the man's ear off. Peter, I'm telling you, I know Peter was black. You don't have to tell me. That's my own personal assertion of Peter. He was black. He had to be black. Cutting folk ear off, cussing folk out, saying what he ain't going to do, getting on the water and just being disobedient, being all over the place. And yet and still, with all of those things, he's still Christ's number one guy. Let's go to the most remembered mistake that Peter made. Christ asked him, how many? He said, Peter, now let me tell you what you're going to do. You're going to deny me 3 times before the crow crows. Before the crow, not the crow, the rooster crows. You're going to deny me 3 times. He didn't tell him, you're going to deny me. He was very specific. He said, you're going to deny me 3 times. And Peter was like, oh, no, Jesus, I'm not going to do that. What you talking about? I'm with you. I'm down like 4 flats. Tell me. You don't know some people like that. And as soon as shit get hot, they out. As soon as the grease get too hot in the kitchen, they out. As soon as they have to choose between you and another competing priority, you get pushed to the back burner. As soon as they have to stand up and rectify and recognize their connection to you, they suddenly don't know you. But Christ still chose him. Lost faith on the water, was cussing and fussing about having to go back out to the deep, even though the deep yielded his largest harvest. Cut the man's ear off and then denied Christ. All of these things, that was his authentic nature. His authentic nature was, when the going get tough, Peter gonna get gone. I cuss, I'm gonna cut people ear off. I'm just really impulsive. The word that most theologians use to describe Peter is explosive. He's very explosive and very, very, very compulsive. So here you have a compulsive person. But in all of those things, here's our thesis. He was still not one of Christ's disciples, his chief disciple. Somebody write that down. He was his chief disciple. So Christ, now let me tell you how quick this was, denies Christ and then watches him from the court. After he denies the Christ, and let me tell you why he denied Christ. Why do you think he denied Christ? Put it in the chat. Why you think he denied Christ? It's one word and it starts with an F. It's a 4-letter word. It's one word and it starts with an F. I took some screenshots of some of my notes, y'all. Let me look. Fear. Fear. Fear is why he denied Christ. He loved Christ. And over 3 years had come to really trust his ministry and trust that what he was saying was the truth. You're absolutely right, Diane and Tanya. Fear. That's what made him run when it got hot. When it got hot, he was not reliable in the heat of the moment. But Peter was healing folk, doing everything else that the other disciples was doing during the 3 years, as long as it was safe, as long as he had the safety of Christ. Remember when I first started, Peter has to have tangible evidence. Peter was not a faith-based man. He didn't lead with faith. He needed to touch Christ. That's why he said, I gotta believe you. Make me walk on water. Make me walk on water. And Christ said, okay, you're gonna do it yourself, but whatever. So that's who Peter was. Another flaw was that mouth and the compulsion. But Christ said, you my guy. So he denies Christ, then has to watch him be crucified. Can you imagine the shame and the guilt after denying your master for 3 years, your leader for 3 years? They ask you, do you know him? And you lie 3 times. 3 times. You deny him 3 times. The guilt and the shame that Peter had to deal with after that. But Christ knew that. Peter was Christ's chief disciple. He was the one. So Christ knew that he needed to restore him. So when he came back, after he, ascended, when Christ came back, who do you think the first disciple he went to see? Ding, Peter. It's over there in Luke. Go over there in Luke. Let me get the chapter, because I wanted to give y'all some real scriptures. So he denies him, John 18:15 through 27. Walking on water is Matthew 14:22 through 33. What else? I don't have the scriptures for the other things, but they're in there. So he comes back and he meets with Peter first. Peter is the first person that Christ comes back after he's ascended. Then he meets with the other disciples. And then he says, up on this rock, this Petra, this Peter, I will build my church. First of all, his name was Simon. His birth name was Simon, and Christ changed his name to Peter. I'm giving y'all all kind of Bible lessons. Lord, y'all got to read y'all Bible. So Christ changed his name, and by changing his name, he changes his nature. Oh my God, somebody type that in there. When God changes your name, he changes your nature. So he went from Simon to Petra, the rock of Christ's church. Somebody ought to hear me in here. With all of his flaws, the church's establishment was on the back of Peter. Now, Paul came and picked up the work, but at the time of the Christ, it was Peter. Not John, not Andrew, not none of his brothers. It was Peter, somebody that was introduced to him by one of his brothers. So the second thing I want to take away is sometimes family, that's not a prerequisite of authenticity. Sometimes you can be yourself more around strangers or people who are a couple of steps removed than you can with your own family. Okay? When God changes your name, he changes your nature. I love y'all. So let me give you a couple of other things that Peter did in his authority. Did you know that Peter was the one that decided to replace Judas? See, a lot of people don't even know that after Judas killed himself, hung himself from a tree because of what he did, Matthias. You ever heard that name, Matthias? Matthias was the 12th disciple. And let me tell you how they picked him. So when people say that gambling is not in the Bible, they don't know their Bible. What we call dice today is how they picked the 12th disciple. And if you think I'm lying, get on your Google and get in your Bible and read it for yourself. Peter said we need a 12th disciple because he understood the number of 12 and what it meant in scripture and in holy numbers and in sacred texts. So he didn't want an incomplete team. We need a 12th. They threw dice, and that's how they chose Matthias. Another thing Peter is responsible for, he's the reason why he said that because he opened up his ministry to both Gentile. Oh, that was another thing. Go back. Another critical thing Christ said after he comes back and he talks to Peter, he visits Peter. He asks Peter, "Do you love me?" 3 times. And Peter got irritated on that 3rd time. He said, "You know all things. You know I love you." And Christ says what? "Feed my sheep." Now, prior to Christ saying that, in every other instance of the word shepherd, he's talking about himself as the shepherd, as God's shepherd on the earth. He's talking about himself as the shepherd. But when he comes back transfigured after being raised, he says, "Peter, feed my sheep." So it don't get no more clearer than that. And so as the shepherd, Peter gets the 12th disciple, and he also is responsible for opening up his ministry to Gentile and Jew. And because he did that, he said that the Jewish kosher meal rule is no longer valid, making it, come on somebody, separating Christianity from Judaism. All of this history, all of this stuff wrapped into that to say, why did I give you 23 minutes of history? Because I want you to get this. First of all, there's nothing new under the sun. Everything you need, even schizophrenia, is in the Bible. Everything you need, mental disorders, physical sickness, family problems, generational trauma, it's all in the Bible. If you know how to pull out the principles from the Bible and not read it prescriptive, but read it as a descriptive book. So I said all that to say this. Whatever your quirks are, whatever your uniqueness is, whatever makes you different is what makes you brilliant. Whatever makes you different is what makes you beautiful. Whatever makes you different is what makes you your own unique godly expression walking this earth. I need you to get that. I want you to stop focusing so much on conforming and figure out who the hell you are, because once you figure out who you are, then can't nobody come in the big bad wolf can huff and puff and cannot blow your house down. Many of you have houses of straw that you picked up along the way from other people. Some of you may have houses of mud, but let it rain and you don't have a house no more. Huh? It's a little more sturdy than straw. He don't have to blow it, but he can sure get some water, and you don't have no house no more. You need to come on over here with us in the healing realm. I got a house of brick. Now blow and knock that down if you want to. You need a sledgehammer. And by the time you go get a sledgehammer, I done got a shotgun and you dead. You see what I'm saying? So fortify your mind, fortify your beingness, fortify your emotions with brick, not mud and not straw. Don't be so quick to follow the crowd. Figure out who you are. And when you start to think that, oh, I'm so different and nobody gonna like me, think about Peter. I'm going to get my shirt made. I'm going to get it made in 2025. I cuss, smoke, and drink. I don't know how many times I done said that. And I preach, and I teach, and I sing, and I do therapy, and I do all of that. Why? Because that is who I am. And as long as I know who I am and I do things in moderation and I'm not, or whatever, but as long as that's authentic to me, then I get to be Stephanie all the time. And part of the reason why you're tired, part of the reason why you wake up frustrated, you go to bed mad and you wake up mad, is because you have to be 17 people in 24 hours. You have to be somebody at work, and then you have to be somebody at home, and then you have to be somebody at church, and then you got to be somebody at the sorority, and then you got to be somebody different at the fraternity, and then over here you got to be something else over here in the Grand Mason Lodge and the OES and the every damn thing else we in. We're going to talk about why we in all these communities another time, because that's a trauma response. It is a trauma response. Ask me how I know, because I'm in all of them. And it's a trauma response. And I'm slowly backing up. I'm slowly claiming my own energy. And I'm slowly making just some small divides so that I can get back to what it was before I joined these organizations. I was a one-woman show. And what I allowed those communities to do was take over my time, all my resources, everything. And so what I'm having to do is reappropriate them as parts of my life, not the sum total of my life. Hear me on today. They are parts of my life that I love dearly, but they are not the sum total of my life. When you go on my timeline and when you see my things, you're going to see my grandbaby more than you see anything, because that makes up the sum total. You see what I'm saying? You're going to see my children. You're going to see my family. You're going to see me talk about trauma-free society, because that is what God has given me to talk about. And you may see sprinkles of the blue and white, sprinkles of the green and white. But if you go back 2 years, all you saw was blue and white. All you saw was community. All you saw was church. All you saw, the devil is a lie. Now, today, you see all parts of who Dr. Stephanie Lynn is. And everybody has a piece, but no one thing is the sum total of me, because I'm the sum total of me. I am. And all of these other things reflect the unique person that I am. They reflect a unique person of me. And I had to take space from all of it. Everybody. Took a space from my family for a season. I've taken spaces from all of these things to see myself and then re-engage based on what I need that organization to give to my life. I'm going to teach on that. Instead of joining it for what you can get out of it, join for what it can give you. Because you're already bringing what you're bringing to the table, or you wouldn't have been attracted. So you already have the principles. What does it give to your life? And many times we're in these spaces, whether it be church or whatever, and we absolutely get nothing from it, nothing but the approval of other people. And I swear to God, I read in my Bible, I swear that I read in my Bible, if all you want is the praise of men, that's all you gonna get. That's all you gonna get. But if you want to make an impact, and if you want to do something with your life, it has to feed you too. It can't be a one-way street. The law of giving and receiving is a two-way street. You reap what you sow. So in order to reap something, you have to have what? Sown something. And so in the case of Peter, he was his authentic self, cutting people's ears off, cussing folk out, then synced, was mad because he had to go out in the deep, denied Christ 3 times, and yet and still, on the name of Peter, the nature of Peter, and the leadership of Peter, the Christian community was established. And yet and still, he was the first bishop in Rome. With all of his quirks and all of his experiences and all of the things that made him Peter. Now, am I telling you to go out here and be a fool? No, that's not what I'm telling you to do. What I am telling you to do is embrace those natural parts of who you are. And let me tell you how to identify them. It's the parts of you that you are afraid to show. Those parts. It's the pieces of you at work that you like, I don't know if I can really bring this into the church. Or the parts of you, you may be super, super smart, but your people at your job make you feel dumb. That's probably because you're at the wrong job or on the wrong team. That's the first thing. But whatever it is that you are afraid to inject into all of these areas that are intrinsically you, those are the things you need to start working on. because that's you, boo. If you bougie, be bougie. I love my bougie friends. You want to know why? Because they teach me about status. They teach me about travel. They teach me about Fendi and Balenciaga. I was saying that name so wrong, and Louis Vuitton. I was saying Louis Vuitton for so long because I'm from the hood. I'm from South Park, Texas. I stayed around the corner from the Botany Boys. Bone Thugs and Harmony was over there on Rondale. I'm from the hood. We don't know about no Gucci. And I was saying, Hermes. My friend was like, it's Hermes, is what it is. It's Hermes. I need you to, it's a silent H, Wilson. If I didn't have bougie friends in my circle, they wouldn't be able to teach me, train me, and correct me. They wouldn't be able to do those things. I need hood friends to keep me level. Because when I need to, clock somebody, I need to know where to go. I need really smart friends, intellectually forward friends, so that when I'm putting my ideas out there, they can ask me the 21 questions that need to be asked, because I'm a visionary. I sit at the top of the elephant. I have no clue how the feet gonna move. I don't know how we gonna get a balloon in the air. I don't know. I just know I want a balloon in the air on Friday. My intelligent friends need to come and say, okay, ma'am, we have to build a custom hydraulic system for this. And it's going to take this. I need my financially astute friends that's going to look at me and say, what does your portfolio look like, Stephanie? What are you doing? Now, how much is this going to cost? So everything that you think is crazy, I'm telling you, the world needs it. Your friends need it. Your communities need it. Your churches need it. Your sorority and fraternities. We need all of the uniqueness that you are. But you're so afraid to show people who you are. And I wanted to present Peter to you in a way tonight that if a person that can cuss, cut people's ears off and deny the very person that gave them the power to be who they are, I promise you, you showing up in your fullness is not going to yield nothing negative. If Peter can be all that, and I haven't even started on Paul. Paul was a whole murderer. That's a whole nother situation. And he's known for the establishment of the church. The current church, or the modern church, if you will. Now, he was a whole nother type of fool. So I'm telling you, these faith siblings that are in the Bible, learn from them. Stop waiting for the hoop moment. Stop waiting for the moment of triumph and do the whole story and start pulling apart the lives of these people and seeing the humanism. That's one of the things that just really infuriates me about the Black church experience. We remove the humanism out of it. We're so excited to teach you do our 3 topics, the seminary, get your introduction, your 3 topics, and close. We so busy trying to get to the close. And didn't it die? Oh, Lord. Ain't God all right? We're trying to get to that. And we've taught people nothing. We've mentioned no principles of God. We can say, ain't God all right? But we can't teach people the principles of sowing and reaping. And they out here sowing extramarital children. They out here sowing bad money habits. They're out here sowing malice and gossip and drama. And their lives are reaping it. And it doesn't matter how much they come to your altar. And it doesn't matter how many times you say, didn't it die? They're still going home broken. Because we are failing to teach the truth of God. I done got mad. I done sat here and I said I wasn't going to get upset. But we teaching bull instead of teaching the truth of the principles of God, so that people can be free, people can live free, and people can live abundantly, which the last time I checked is what Christ said in John. I came that they may have life. Oh, God. And that they would have it more abundantly. And we are around here sliding on stupid, talking about stuff that does not help people to live life. And so in your quest to figure out what your life is, look at Peter and look at all of his flaws. Look at all of the things that made him flawlessly amazing. And look at all of the things that Christ still granted him, even after denial. And I guarantee you, it ain't that bad. You ain't that bad. You pretty cool. You just have to change the way you think about. Hey, Jerica. Girl, I done got excited. I done shouted and have it more abundantly. Stop listening to these stupid people that all they got is a didn't he die? Yes, he died and he dead. He resurrected and he is gone. He is transcended. Now what? Now what? How do I live this thing called life through the principles that he left when he was in ministry? How do I get those principles in my consciousness so that I can experience all that Christ was teaching? Well, you know, this ain't our home. The hell if it ain't. It's my home right now. Listen, what did Christ say? When he was getting the disciples, he said, let the dead bury the dead. And come on here right now, I'm trying to tell you, no. This may not be my permanent home, but right now, right hell down now, it's my home. I'm having a human experience in the United States of America. I am 45 years old. I'm in Houston, Texas, and it is December the 9th, 2024. This is my home right now, in this existence and in this body and with this mind. This is my home. And so I'm not going to live this life as if I'm in heaven, which I've never seen. I only have what's in the Bible and what I dream about and what God delivers in my consciousness about heaven. Why would I spend all my time on earth living for heaven instead of living on earth? And Christ said himself, I came that they may have life here in this realm and in this existence more abundant. I'm telling you, stop listening to these jaw jank preachers that just want to take your money at the altar. I'm so sick of that altar call. I want them to ban it. We don't have the altar call at my 9 a.m. service because my pastor, Dr. Dimes, we don't play them games. No. We teach you how to pray on your own. Pray on your own. You come here to get the word and community and fellowship. We teach you how to be priests of your own house at the Grace Church. So I'm going to stop. I'm 8 minutes over my time. I done got mad and hot, y'all. When I start thinking about the religious control that has been exerted over us, and it wasn't out of malice. We taught, and I'm saying we, because I'm from the old way of thinking. I'm from organized religion. It was my roots. We just taught what was taught to us, and we never stopped to actually ponder. We never stopped to actually have a greater conscious experience of the word. We literally just regurgitated what was taught to us. And so forgive us. I am speaking on behalf of those of us that come out of organized religion and have now found the truth of God in the word of God, that we now are teaching you the principles of life that are in the Bible. And one of those principles is how to live authentically as you live abundantly. Somebody put that in there, and then I'm going to play my music and I'm out. How to live authentically as you live abundantly. Christ said he came that we would live abundantly, and Peter is a wonderful example of how to live authentically while you live abundantly. Oh, Lord, I think I'm going to put that on the shirt. All right, let me put up my banner. Y'all come on into community. It's free. It's absolutely free. And it now has an app, so you can download the app on your phone. Many of my community have downloaded the app. I'm going to see if I can open it and show it to you guys real quick. Free. Absolutely free. In 2025, I'm going to kill my email list. I'm doing all of that. I'm going to do a subscriber on Facebook, and then I'm going to do my community. This is what my community looks like on your phone. Look, it tells you the event live is on your phone. My links are there. Yep, that's inside the community. Video. Look at all that. Y'all got videos. You got reminders. I do all kinds of encouragement. It's a great place. It's a great place. And I'm building it organically. So you do have to get an approval. You have to answer some questions because this is not a dump all. This is a space for women who are truly done with their trauma and they want to be free of it so that they can live the abundant life. So the link to get in is down there on your screen. Down there on your screen. I love you. I'll talk to you later. Bye. God is not forgotten.
Every ending is a new beginning. Relax yourself, it's a new beginning. God is never late, can never be late. Never, 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 can never be late. God is never late, can never be late. Never, never,
Y'all
never,
next
never,
week.
can never be late. God is not done with me. No, God is not done with me. He's just getting started, and I'm right here for it.
Jeremy got it.
God is not done with me. No, God is not done with me.
That's our message for the night.
Just getting started, and I'm right here for it. Be patient,
love you too.
Patient,
you're welcome, Mika. Love you, Weena. You need to come on into the community, Weena.
Patient, patient,
click on the link or inbox me on Facebook. I'll send it to you.
Patient, patient.
Love y'all.
He's just getting started, and I'm right here for it. God is not done with me. No, God is not done with me. God is not done with me.
Hi, y'all. God is not done with us. Be authentic as you live abundant.
No, God is not done with me. He's just getting started.